So we're going through Revelation, and we did chapter 12 last week, and let's all catch ourselves up because we had two things fail on us today, and so our little speakers here failed on us. We're only running off of one because they wouldn't connect, and the main one wouldn't even turn on when I first got in here. So I don't know what's going on with these things today. And then the AC for this room quit working a little bit ago. So we're I may be a little scattershot. So what was 12 about? It was we looked at we had this dragon, like this woman and the dragon, and there's a lot of like Christmas story in that. There's a lot of creation in it too, creation language that's going on that. There's also a lot of Exodus language. There's just a lot of Exodus language in Revelation anyway, which makes sense because Exodus is the time when God saved his people, and so you kind of see that with like the sea language and all that's going on in there. Let's see here. Then I'm just looking at the headings from chapter 12. We have there's like that great battle that's in heaven and all that stuff, and the evil is cast out of there and all of that. So, but we have this whole like thing of this dragon, and that's important going on into 13 here is this idea of this dragon and the sea and all of that. So we got to remember all of our history with our understanding of seas and all that good stuff. So Ed and I were talking before class, and we think we should, to lead into chapter 13, we should start reading at chapter 12, verse 13. So like that's where we're going to start reading. Then we're just going to read all of 13 because remember, there were not chapter breaks in this stuff originally. So it's good for us to hit all of that, and then we can talk about what we see in all of this. So here we go, chapter 12, beginning with verse 13. Okay, here we go.
Now when the dragon saw that he had been cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. But the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to a place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. So they worshipped the dragon, who gave authority to the beast, and they worshipped the beast.
Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. It was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. He performs great signs, so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666.
Okay, all right. Like, there's a bunch of imagery going on here, which, as we go through here, I think, yeah, there's a lot of dragons, the beast, and all these things. Because I think this is there's some important things that we can see as we go through there. So I remember what we talked about last week with the earth helped the woman and all that stuff. And we kind of started talking about Lord of the Rings and all of that stuff last week, because that's something that Tolkien does. That the earth helps. You have the trees and like that. There's even the eagles and all that stuff. And I think that imagery kind of helps us kind of talk about what's happening here, because there's a beauty and a majesty to creation, and I think it's important for us to recognize that beauty and majesty of creation, because I think we're in a time right now where the creation around us often gets used and abused, like it's just used as another commodity, type of thing, but everything was created. And and just like us, that we were created. We may be the heap of the pile, but it was created too. And we see that creation is helping as well there. Let's see. So all right. So we have the beginning of 13. So near the beginning here, what do you see? What do you see? So I'll read a little bit of it. So this is 13, verse 1. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and horns and 10 crowns on his head and a blasphemous name. Now this is just like what we met earlier, right? Like that's same kind of head, same type of crowns. Although it uses crowns, it used diadem before, didn't it?
Diadem. This translation is diadem.
Okay. Why does the King James change that? That's weird. Anyway, so you have the diadems, you have the crowns. Like that's just like I remember singing that song, "Crown Him with Many Crowns," and it bring forth a royal diadem. And I remember being little and being like, "It's a diadem." And it's just a crown, like but you got to have syllables, and you can't add syllables to crown. Yeah, like that.
All right.
Yeah. Like that. That's so it's so we have all of those things. So what does it mean? What do you guys think about coming out of the sea? There's definitely a lot of imagery going on. What do you think? What are you laughing about?
Nothing.
Nothing. Like
Just
that's
sitting and seeing.
I didn't hear, what kind of imagery did you see?
like it talks about the beast coming out of the sea, rising out of the sea.
But you used a descriptive, something.
With all the heads and the crowns and all that stuff. We had met that's in chapter 12, right? Or is that 11? The dragon with all the crowns and stuff like that. Or is this just me reading this another time? I thought we had already met this guy that had all the crowns.
Yeah, we talked about somewhere it was about crowns. I remember, but
Yeah, it's earlier. It may be in 12, it may be in 11. But that's someone we've already met, which is important. And the reason why I'm talking about all this is because there's multiple images of this coming out of the sea. A Leviathan comes out of the sea. You know, you have this beast, this dragon comes out of the sea. Also, Israel and where they are located, if they are run over, Rome attacks them via the sea. You know, like they come in through the Mediterranean and hits their shore, you know, in the sea, because there's a lot of Nero and Caesar language that's going on here. And we see that it's exemplified there at the end with the 666. And it tells you what that it means. It means this is the number of man. You know, like that's what this is. You know, I grew up with like 666 is this like super scary number and all that stuff. It's just not 7. You know, it's not 7. It's this incomplete type of idea going on.
my license got 6.
Oh, does it? It just means you're human. But it's man's number, and so like that's because I think we need to be careful not to make this more than it is, because if we make it more than it is, then I think it makes us blind to how this is going on. You know, like all of this stuff, and so because we're in the midst of the now not yet in here, and I think John is like pointing to some specific things, but it's also things that we end up seeing too, like in things. So he has, so one of the heads has a blasphemous name, and he has in verse 2, you know, he looks like a leopard, his feet are like a bear, a mouth like a lion, you know, and it's like what kind of imagery do you think he's giving? Is just something just as powerful?
My footnote was real interesting on this verse 1 and 2 because it refers back to Daniel's vision.
Yeah.
In chapter 7 of Daniel 1 through 6, and he saw the lion, he saw the eagle,
Mm-hmm.
The bear.
Yeah.
So he was having a vision back then.
So he's using language that people would have been familiar with from Daniel, right?
Right.
Like, so he's using this language, like he's like, remember that, and remember what Daniel's talking about. He's talking about Babylon and all that stuff. In chapter 7, that's right after Nebuchadnezzar becomes a beast of the field for a little bit, right? And like grazes like a cow.
Okay.
Is that right after that? I can't remember. I think it is. But you know, so all those visions are about like the power of Babylon and things like that Daniel is having. That it's like, here's this evil force in the world. So that's a good catch. And so that we have this vision that's kind of going back to Daniel here. And so this one is the interesting one, verse 3. And I saw that one of his heads, as it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, right? And all the world marveled and followed the beast. So, what's going on with that? What's going on with that? What do you think is happening? Like everyone goes after the beast because he's healed of this mortal wound.
Maybe it was wrong, she went on to the Jews.
No.
When they opened the Red Sea.
Yeah. Ramsey, like that's a good connection. You got all the Exodus stuff going on too.
It's almost the resurrection.
It's like a mockery of Jesus. You know? Like that's like it's like look at what has happened here. You know, like and that's it, and everyone goes
Resurrection.
yeah, like it's like a resurrection narrative. And the world goes off of it. And we actually see a bunch of righteous things from God's people that are made fun of here, right? Like that are being used against them. So the world marveled and followed after the beast. And so we see almost like this resurrection narrative that's happening. But if you and so they worship the dragon who gave authority to the beast, and they worship the beast saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? You know, it's what are they saying about the beast there? What are they're worshiping him and like all that stuff. What is the image that we keep seeing of Christ at the beginning of this book? The lamb that was slain. What is the image of this guy? Is it a lamb that was slain?
Yes, that was slain.
Yeah. Well, it's one of like supreme power. You know, it's one that is full power, full greatness, full mightiness. You know,
Fully Roman.
yeah, fully what is Roman in here? Fully Babylon, fully, you know, however you want to look at it, right? Like that's fully in any of this stuff. And so they're even saying it like he's so powerful, like who would even dare make war against him? You know, like this, there's no hope surrounding this guy unless you are part of him, you know, like that's, and so yeah, like this is definitely Rome during this time.
This talks about,
Yeah.
in the footnote, it says that the wound possibly could refer to the Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity.
Yeah.
I don't.
What did it say about him?
Wound possibly could refer to the Emperor Constantine's conversion to Christianity, and it's becoming the established religion of the empire.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, the healing could be the resultant state church system.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Emphasizes the tremendous recuperative power of the beast.
Mm.
Let's see. The world expects the beast to be victorious, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so it's
It does keep coming back after us.
It says who can make war against him, the beast, and that the church will finally suffer total defeat.
Mm.
Hence the astonishment at the wounding of the beast, but the prophecies and revelation assure God's people such an outcome will not occur.
and that's the Concordia too, isn't it? Like that?
Yeah, this is the Lutheran
yeah.
study Bible.
That's the
yeah.
Lutheran. That's the one that studies itself. It's self-study.
Yeah, self-study.
Yeah. That's pastor humor. Pastor humor. That's the one before this one. They came out with this one.
Okay. So what is this one?
This is the ESV translation, and
Oh,
it's the newer
this is
Concordia
the
one.
NIV.
Yeah, that
Okay.
was the one
Okay.
that they had before. That's interesting. I don't know
Yeah.
quite where they're getting
I don't know my
the
history well enough to.
yeah. So there is a lot of like I think Nero language going on here. You know, like there's a lot of the Nero was often called the Beast too, when it came to him being an emperor of Rome, and so there's that, but I think John is going bigger than this. I think that fully Roman idea that Mick said, I think is kind of getting getting onto here. Like I think when we look at the Christ, they talk, when we look at Jesus in Revelations, all this talk about mighty and all that stuff, and then when all that fog clears, suddenly we actually get a picture, it's a lamb that is slain. And yet here, when all the fog clears, it's almost like a comparing story, but it's one of just ultimate power.
It's the Antichrist.
It's the Antichrist. It's Antichrist. And he was given, like, so this is verse 5, and he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. You know, it's just prideful, boisterous, just says lies constantly, you know, like this, and says things constantly against people, you know, all that stuff. And then we have that 42 months again. What did we talk about with that 40? I can't remember.
3.5 years.
3.5 years?
And then we talked about it being half of 7.
Yeah. So like that. So we see this kind of half of 7 idea coming along again. So that 3.5 years, that's good. And so he's given authority, which I think you can kind of see there. He's given authority to go over there. It's not all the time. You know, it goes back to that stupid thing that I say oftentimes, that it's like, you know, if your life is really bad right now and things aren't very good, like, hang on, it'll pass. But if your life is doing pretty good right now, like, hang on, it'll pass. And like that's.
You started to do that in my spirit.
Yeah. No, that's one of my favorite things. Like that's the but it's, you know, it's going to pass. It's temporary. But so verse 6 then, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. So think about the people that we've met already. We met those martyrs that were underneath the table, you know, that were underneath the Lord's table, that were saying, "How long, O Lord?" You know, like and he's blaspheming against everything that is good and holy, right? Like that's like his name, his tabernacle, and all that stuff. So he's doing these great blasphemies. He's blaspheming against the things of God. And it was granted him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. That word overcome, is that the same word you guys have in your translations? It's verse 7. It's granted to make war with the saints and overcome them.
Conquer them.
Conquer?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, I want to look it up.
Authority over every tribe.
I want to look it up in Greek real fast.
It's the guy next to you.
I know. He doesn't have it in front of him, though. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to bring Zoom over real fast. All right, here we go. Let's get rid of the ad. All right, so given authority over every tribe to overcome. And what I want to look at is the other places in Revelation where this word shows up. Yeah, it's the same word that the churches, he who overcomes, it's the same word in Greek. Here, you want to look at the Greek word, George? It is this one right here.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to overcome. And so the so that's the same word that the churches are given when they're like, but he who overcomes.
Against saints, right? That's what you said.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's interesting that same word is used. You know, that's like the other English translations. Actually, I don't like that they changed that. But it's because it seems like he's winning at like this game right here that's going on. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is granted to make war with the saints and overcome them. Because remember the churches in chapter 2 and 3, it was like, but he who overcomes, and we end up seeing who overcomes are the ones of like they take on that way of Christ, that way of the lamb that was slain type of thing there at the beginning. And we got this thing. You have like a puzzled look on your face.
I was thinking about the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
the 42
Mm-hmm.
months. It's interesting that that's 6 times 7.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Might not bother anybody
I
else.
wasn't thinking about that.
That's interesting. I don't know what to do with that.
Complete versus. I don't know. Complete versus.
Yeah.
Six complete verses.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with that, but that is like that's because it's all that stuff in the numbers games is all fair game. Like, because remember, numbers, I'll say this again, numbers, the way I view it, which is the correct way, like that's,
I'm sorry.
yeah, the way I do it, the numbers they're not like hard scripture, they're like emojis. And the way I liken it is when you send a smiley face, like Ed, whenever he sends me texts about 2 years ago, started becoming a prolific emoji user in his text messages, like all that stuff.
When I found out what they were all about.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so like you have smile, thumbs up, you have all these little images that mean something,
Mistakes.
but they're not the same as the words, like that there's a difference. And I think when we look at these numbers, I think it helps to look at them like emojis. Like they're saying something, but it's not concrete. It's like this idea that's going out there. So he may be doing this like 6 times 7, but that kind of still fits with that non-complete time. It's not 49. It's not 144. It's not 12 times 12.
Your description is apt in terms of emoji. The emoji's purpose is to convey that which can't be
Yeah.
The emoji conveys that which cannot be articulated well.
Yeah.
And hence the scriptural emojis as well. You can't reduce it into language, but it has this emotional impact.
Yes. I think that's what's going on with those numbers. And I think that's how a lot of the numbers are used in the Bible, especially here in Revelation. And I think when you look at it that way, I think it's helpful, because it's like, I think the numbers become fun where suddenly you can like do this stuff of like 6 times 7, like but that could be what he's doing. But we know it still has this idea of not the full time. He's given authority to not rule for the full time is kind of the idea that's going on there. Let's see here. So he overcame them. That's interesting language to me. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundations of the world. So think about what that is saying there, is we are given this blasphemous beast who looks like it has all power, and then we don't miss it. He goes, remember who's the real one. Like the foundations of the world was established on the slain lamb, like that's over there. And I think it's funny, as I was reading that, it kind of sounds like these people are ungovernable. Like that, I don't know, like that makes me, everyone will worship them except for these that are written in the Lamb's Book of Life.
Yeah, the LCMS Lutheran people.
Yeah, is that it? Is that it?
That's
Yeah.
what it says in the footnote.
Is that the footnote? Yeah. Of the ELCA Bible? Yeah. Like is that what it says?
Yeah.
But I think you're seeing something of like, and I may be out of line here, but it's like, who are you worshiping? Are you worshiping power? Are you worshiping greatness? Are you worshiping, just unkempt, we are going to, you will comply to us? Or do you worship the Lamb that was slain? Which is fundamentally a different place, right? And so it's kind of like who's your God? Is it Caesar? Is it Nebuchadnezzar? Is it whoever was in charge at any of these times, or is it the Lamb that was slain? Like that's, and so, and I think he says this. Look at this, like verse 9. He's like, "Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? Let if anyone has ear to hear, let him hear. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity." Like if you are stuck on bringing people into subjugation under you, like you are in captivity to that. If you kill with the sword, that's how you will be killed. Like if you are only interested in violence and power, that's all you're ever gonna get. Like that's something I used to say a lot also. This reminds me of is careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Like that's, and here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That kind of reminds me of, remember when we went through 1st and 2nd Samuel, and they're all like, but we want a king, right? We want a king. And Samuel is like, if you have a king, he's going to conscript your sons. He's going to tax you into oblivion. He's going to like all these things, right? Like it sounds like this, like that's, if you insist on taking people into captivity, that is how you will be. It's like, so he's almost like saying like the way of the Lamb that was slain is a different way. Like that's the, I think, did anyone ever watch Ken Burns's documentary on the what was it? The Prohibition. Anyone watch that? Great documentary on the Prohibition. It's super long, like that, but it was fascinating. And there was, when I watched it years ago now, but basically his whole thing was the dangers of prescripting righteousness. Like that's like the dangers of prescripting righteousness. That's not the words he used, but that was kind of what he did, because that's why it all failed. That's why Prohibition failed, because there was a huge issue, and that's what I loved about this document. There was a huge issue with that. What brought on Prohibition, like people were just drinking everything, and it did arrest the population from doing all that. But he said the reason why it failed is this prescripting of righteousness, and I think he was kind of saying that Americans tend to be ungovernable when it comes to stuff like that. But
It's contrary to the ethos of this country.
Yeah.
Just, I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
Freedom.
If I want to have a drink, I'll have a drink.
Yeah, and so that's, but there are always those that want to do that, and so and it's like, if you're gonna rule with the sword, that's all you're gonna get, and you kind of see that. We're going back to Daniel now. Remember what happened to the king Nebuchadnezzar. He was treating people like trash, like
Animals.
like animals.
Yes, he became.
And then he became an animal, and he was eating the fields and all that stuff. This all in the fact that he just quoted Daniel right around that point, I think is what he's talking about here. So there's a lot of like ideas that are being held up in the space, but I think John is doing this big idea. He's also localizing it right at what I think is Rome, but Babylon. Yeah.
This resonates. If you wish you aspires to be first should be last.
Mm-hmm.
Where the greatest should be the weakest.
Yeah.
It's echoing again.
Yeah. This thing just wants to be greatest, and it's like, who are you worshiping? Are you worshiping the greatest one? You know, or the Lamb that was slain? And like the two shall not meet type of thing. So so then we meet another beast now. Then I saw another beast. This is verse 11. That comes up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. That's kind of interesting.
Looks like a goat.
Yeah, like a goat. Yeah, he looks like a goat, right?
The man.
Yeah. Yeah. And he exercises all authority of the first beast in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Interesting. Like there's all this language of what you said a little bit ago, like Antichrist language. And you can see it, right? You can see over there. And he performed all these great signs, that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. That sounds like, was that Elijah or something like that? That does something like that. Yeah. Does all these great signs. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth by those signs which he was granted to do in the sight of the beast.
Reverse Christ.
Reverse Christ. Perverse Christ. Yes. Perverse Christ. Telling those who dwell on earth to make an image to the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. So think again, like this one is now compelled, like we need to make an image of this great one who was resurrected, right? Like this great one. Very interesting stuff. So it's again, perverse Christ type of thing. You look like you want to say
Golden
something.
calf.
It sounds like a golden calf again too. Again, we never leave Exodus. like we're never fully out of Exodus, which is also a Babylon narrative, because like Egypt is a Babylon, and God's people constantly want to go back to Babylon. And I love the nature of the golden calf, and that is that they have all this wealth, and they take their gold, their wealth, and they melt it all down to worship it and say, this is what saved us. You know, like it's this whole thing of like power and might kind of idea going on there. You know, it's like, look at how powerful we can be type of thing. It goes on with that golden calf image. Let's see here. So they make an image of the beast, and he was granted power to, this is verse 15, he was granted power to breathe to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. What is being said on that? That's kind of a weird translation. So he's breathing on the image of the beast.
My footnote says that belief in statues that could speak is widely attested in ancient literature. Ventriloquism and other forms of deception were common.
Ah, okay. All right. So like so all those ventriloquists you thought were, really innocent. Jeffrey Dunham, that's the arbiter of Satan. Like that's just kidding. But that definitely could be there. Like there could have been like some referencing deception going on in the past that was common then. And he causes all, both the small and the great, the rich and the poor, the free and the slave, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except the one, the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So we'll get to that here in a second. But so they receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads. What is that? We're talking about perverse nature of God things. What is mark on your head or your forehead? Does anyone remember? No one remembers? Gotta
They're
go.
going to be marking of righteousness of the chosen 12,000, whatever it was.
So yeah, the John 3:16 of the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 6.
It's just like believers who had a mark, we're going to have a mark too.
Yeah,
Our mark is going to be 666.
yeah.
So again, we're doing this perversion, this parallel universe, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they do, we're going to do it our way,
So like
our own perverse way.
Deuteronomy 6, starting with verse 4, is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with your heart and soul and with all your strength. And these words I command you shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children. You shall talk with them, sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, when you lie down, when you rise up, you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be frontlets between your eyes. So it was ancient Jewish practice that they would have these words, that were a sign and a mark of righteousness, of that they were God's type of thing. They were God's people on their hand and on their forehead. And so you have this now beast who is only about power. And remind me again, what was going on when Deuteronomy was written? They're like wandering around in the wilderness. Remember, we're not fully out of Egypt when we're talking out of Exodus when we're talking about all this stuff. So the way that they buy and sell, they don't pick up the manna off the ground, like God is taking care of them, like they are buying and selling. Remember that? What was it? Was that the pale? No, which horse of the apocalypse that had like the judges, like the scales, that they're buying and selling. Like we're seeing that again, like we're seeing that idea come across again here. Like that they're buying and selling, and they got to have this mark, which is a perversion of that original one. Like that's so. What your grandmother believed back in the 90s that it was a UPC symbol, it's not that, but it is a perversion of things that are righteous. Like in that's what we're going with there. So then,
I mean, perversion is evil sublime. I mean, you can't get more evil than perverting what's good.
Yeah.
That's what this dragon is all about. You want to know how bad I am? This is how bad I am. I'm going to take you and I'm going to turn you inside out.
Yeah. And that is, you see that everywhere. We call them snake oil salesmen today. You like that's there, or back in the day they called them Bible salesmen, type of thing. Like that's and like this idea is bigger than this, but we definitely are looking at this through the lens of the Exodus, but also of Rome. But these people still exist to this day, that they pervert the message of Jesus, of the Lamb that was slain, and serve one of power instead. Like that's, I don't know, have you ever seen any of those images where people like, they really want Jesus to be strong and he's like mighty and powerful and all that stuff? There's one where Jesus is like breaking the cross, like he's strapped to it, he's like breaking it, breaking it off. Like, and it's like, that's not what any of this is about, type of thing.
The buying and selling, by the way, was the black horse.
Was the what? The black horse? Black horse. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, There's a town just south of where I grew up called Black Horse.
Oh, really? Black Pit. They were all evil there. Every one of them.
We can consider this as, it's charitable to consider this as merely a variation on a theme. This, again, allow me to beat the dead horse, forgive me for the
Black Horse.
black horse.
Yeah.
Again, I am struck by the exquisite evil of this. It's just exquisite.
Yeah. Now, what do you mean by that?
It's penultimate. It does not get blacker than this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It doesn't get, this is evil.
Yeah.
There's, I'm beating a dead horse, I can't forget.
Yeah.
The dead Black Horse.
Yeah. That's, but it's interesting that we keep getting this back, and so that you have the frontlets between the eyes, and now they're doing the bidding of that one horse of the apocalypse to get that. It's not just picking up manna. It's not just trusting in that. It's trusting in the economic system that it's going to.
We blew past cynical with this. We're well beyond cynical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then, it says, I'll read 17, and no one may buy or sell except the one who has the mark and the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man. His number is 666. Now think about what is John saying there. I have a hunch about what he's saying there. Like so he's like, here's the number of his name, and then he like preambles the number for an entire, it's 4 lines in my Bible. Like he preambles the number. What is he saying with the number? Like, what's he saying about the beast? Is the beast godly? Like, no. It's man. Right?
Interestingly, this translation says the number of a person,
Okay.
Yeah, that's what mine says.
Yeah.
and its number is 666.
Okay.
It's written out 600.
Yes,
All
600.
right. Let's look at the Greek. Let's look at the Greek. So let's see here. We'll share the screen. And what verse is that? It's the last one in the 18. Okay. Why is that box there? Let's get rid of the ad.
Don't do the beast. That's none of us.
No. Like that's understanding, let's see, count the number of the beast, the number of man. So anthropon. Like so anthropos, anthropology, it's like this, it's like the study of humanity, man.
Anthropology.
Yeah. And so, and it is the number of it is, so it's 666.
That's the number.
Yeah, that's the number.
Animal, one the dragon.
Yeah.
His number was Frobo. Like
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
STTO.
So that's,
Like most of them.
Being Antichrist, the note says here that 666 is a fitting number for the anti-Trinity.
okay. That's interesting. It's an interesting note.
This refers to that too. Well, it refers also, it says that in ancient times, the letters of the alphabet served for numbers, and various schemes for decoding those numbers result in such names as Rufus, Latinos, Nero, Caesar, and Domitian, and then it says others take 666 as a symbol for the Trinity of evil.
Okay.
And, I guess in a previous Revelation study that I got in on, about last half of it, the Trinity of evil was the devil, the secular world, and the false church.
Okay.
I think that came from a
Yeah.
Luther study. I think
Okay.
that's what it was.
All right.
So,
Yeah. That's interesting. It does say in the Greek, it did say 666, but that's, you can see those three things on there. And I think like my opinion about this is that it's the number of anthropoi, or anthropos, of man, like that's, and I like how the other translations all say person.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that softens it too much.
you think that softens it too much? Well, it's, even if it said humanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this says a person.
Yeah. Mine
Yeah.
does.
Oh, a
It's
person.
just a
And
person.
that makes, that's maybe where people got the idea of it just only the
One-
devil, one
Yeah.
entity.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But this,
Yeah,
I
But-
agree with her.
but it's, I like that it's,
What she said.
But when you say that, the lion or the dragon, it has a number of.
well, and what I see this doing, and I may be wrong here, and I may be, like, I say that joking a lot of times, but I might be here. But you have this beast who's doing a perversion of the Christ narrative, right? And it's this perversion where he, there is a resurrection that happens. There's all this stuff, and we even see this perversion of the holy things that are, in the John 3:16 of the Old Testament, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. There's this perversion of that. And then at the end, like John basically says this, and here's the number of his name. Now hear how smart this is. Hear the wisdom behind all this. You need to understand and calculate the number of the beast. You gotta put it all together. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, the number is of man. Yeah, like it's a man. Like it's 666.
It's not a beast.
Yeah, he's not God. He's not.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of debunking that 666 is Satan.
Yeah. Like it's like, it's humanity. It says it right there. Like, it's man's number. Which is
All of us.
6. It's this 6 idea. It's not quite there to 7 yet. It's not 777. Like it's this like 6th day of creation.
666. In Greek.
Yeah, 666. Yeah.
To further confusion, mine also says other ancient authorities read 616.
616?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder why. I wonder why. I don't know where that's coming from.
Very old Bible.
Yeah.
I guess.
I need to preserve obscurity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
that's a footnote in mine too.
Is it?
Usually what he says use.
Yeah, that's a footnote. So other ancient authorities read 616.
Yeah.
But what do they know? Most
I
of
think
them probably
he's
couldn't read.
I think he's the devil. I read.
so like that's, but like I think that's pretty good there, and I think John is really lower. It's like, hey, this looks all powerful and mighty, but realize that this isn't the final say. That's what I hear he's saying there. It's like it's 666. It's a man. Like that's, and that it's not this lamb that was on the throne. And then you look at the very next verse, 14. Then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion with him 144,000. So you immediately have this number that isn't complete. And then you have 144,000, which is like that 12 times 12. Like all that stuff right over there. So like he switches gears right there and goes into the bigger narrative. So yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. I think we did pretty good for that one. Anyone have any other thoughts on chapter 13 of the Revelation? Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So we'll say goodbye to the YouTube people that are watching this pre-recorded days later. All right. See you guys. Thanks so much.